Hey there, guys. Sean Michael here from On Microsoft, and we are here to talk Microsoft. With me, as always, is co-host Sean Ung. How you doing this week, Sean?
Doing fantastic. A little bit under the weather, but otherwise doing okay.
A little bit under that snowy weather.
Yes, yeah, a little bit sick because it's been cold and it's been cold enough to snow. I think we got like almost like 6 to 8 inches of snow where I am. Very rare for Seattle, but very fun for the kids.
Do you think everyone at Microsoft just took the day off to play in the snow?
In Seattle, when you get even in 1 inch of snow, everything shuts down. So I can imagine a lot of people working from home or just taking the day off and yeah, making the most of it.
Do you think maybe the reason that we got builds on 3 different days was because of the snow?
I would not be surprised if the snow had something to do with it.
Uh,
How about
But
yourself?
anyway, in any event, we got a good show this week, everyone. So for those who don't know, if you're new to the show or just finding us here on YouTube or SoundCloud, we're going to talk all things Microsoft and Windows 10, Windows 10 Mobile, Xbox, HoloLens, Windows holographic, all that news. If you want to see written posts, videos, all sorts of breakdowns, you find those on Microsoft.com. The way you find that website, though, that's how we pronounce it, because it'd be very awkward to say. So the actual typing out of the website is on msft.com. So if you want to see, when we have build videos, those are on our YouTube channel, but you can obviously find the links there, product reviews, and we just reviewed a new Lenovo device and that
Yep.
type of thing. So yeah, today we got all sorts of news. We got holographic stuff, Developer Day, Project Rome. We got a little bit of debunking and some news that kind of got maybe misreported this week as well. So we'll be getting through all that sort of things. We're going to start off with Sean's one of your favorite topics, Sean, is some holographic news.
Yes, yeah, I'm expecting there to be. I would love to have a weekly, like, spend 5 to 10 minutes just talking about holographic news. We're gonna start seeing a lot
Well, we
more.
might get to. You never know.
Oh, yeah, I think we will. I think it's gonna be the next big thing. So, and so far it seems like most weeks we've been able to cover holographic news. So 2 days ago was a big day for Windows developers because it was Windows Developer Day, and we got tons of fun things, including more information about the upcoming Microsoft VR headsets, or I should say Windows VR headsets, because they're not necessarily made by Microsoft. They're made to run Windows holographic. And so you can see here, I'm putting up a little screenshot. They showed the Lenovo device on stage. We haven't yet gotten to see a actual hands-on demo of the device in action, but what we did get to see was how to convert existing HoloLens apps for use in virtual reality, Windows virtual reality. And that was pretty cool. So everyone who's currently a HoloLens developer now knows, at least some basic steps to take to convert and get their app ready for use in these headsets. So there's a little bit of confusion around the naming too. A lot of people, is it called virtual reality? Is it called augmented reality, mixed reality? And it seems to be that Microsoft is calling all these devices mixed reality headsets, and they're not using the term virtual reality for these ones that you can't see through
Huh.
them. They're calling them occluded headsets, which I think
Oh,
it's kind of a
occluded.
mouthful. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's an exciting time. We've said this before. If Microsoft has been behind in other major tech industry things, and they have, in terms of phones and that type of thing,
Hmm.
in many ways,
Yeah.
holographic, they seem to be streets ahead. And
Yes.
so, which is great. I think it's wonderful. So
Yep.
I'm very excited, and I'm very glad that this seems to be much more than just like Microsoft made something and no one else has. There are actually quite a few OEMs involved in actually
Hmm.
using this tech, so it's very
Yep.
exciting.
Yep. They are. And then this week, for the HoloLens, what made huge news, almost every major news site covered it, was Portal on the HoloLens. And that's something that, I don't know, I think people just like Portal. And so this guy, Kenny W. Dev, he made these portals that you could try out in your HoloLens. You can't actually, obviously, you can't walk through them. That would be too cool. But you can drop these little blocks through them and they appear, and you can put these portals anywhere in your space. So really, really cool. Quite an achievement that he did. And of course, everyone's kind of ranting and raving about it because it is such a fun game and brings back good memories.
Yeah, it's you have to think HoloLens, Porter and HoloLens, they're almost built for each other.
It is, yeah. It's I think when people saw it, it's like, yeah, of course, and of course
It's
it's
very
making
very
everyone
natural feeling.
making everyone want one now.
You know how on Microsoft we have like written recaps of like Xbox news, Windows 10 mobile news, Windows 10 news. We might have somebody start doing a holographic news recap
Oh yeah, yeah, we
because
should.
there's a lot of it developing these days. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's almost hard to keep track of. We don't even talk about all the small developments. We're just talking about some of the ones that make big news. So
It's
yeah,
just
it is exciting.
Pokemon sorts of
Yeah,
holographics. It's all sorts of fun, mate.
exactly, exactly. So yeah,
All sorts.
that's kind of, at least for now. Those are the main two holographic news of the week.
Did this isn't really related. I was just thinking that because the title of that other the actual link for it included Pokemon in
Oh
it,
yes,
and I was thinking of games. Did you see that somebody built a completely working version of Pokemon inside of Minecraft,
I saw the headline and I was like,
like
wow.
Pokemon Cobalt or what? I mean, obviously it's not official, but it's amazing to me what you can do with Minecraft.
Yeah. Yep. We
So
always say it, but I definitely want to, get my feet wet with that soon.
somebody was telling me today that you could make a working version of Minecraft within Minecraft.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's
That's
true or
called
not. I know you can
Inception
make a
right
working
there.
computer within Minecraft or like a 16-bit system. So there you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, there's your holographic news this for the week. We have some very interesting cross-platform and cross, not just platforms in terms of what form factor you're on, but also Android and Windows working together news, and that has to do with Project Rome.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to read some of these quotes from the official Windows blog post about it's a Project Rome interview. They said announcing Project Rome Android SDKs. So it's interesting. I guess the basic idea behind this is that your Android phone could work together with some of your other Windows devices, and especially based on their graphic that seems to include everything from a phone and PC, but also Xbox and I'll assume a HoloLens, though it could be any outline, but it looks like a HoloLens there. So let me run through a little bit of what it is. Their example revolves around this music app called Contoso. So they said that in this scenario, Paul has a UWP app, which was a music player, and he wanted to make sure that his users had a way to communicate between his app as they moved between devices. And then they display a phone and an Xbox. So we take the example further, we can imagine that Paul has a Contoso music app for Android as well, which is pretty obvious. They even say in this blog post that most users use, they said in this situation, lots of his users use Windows and Android. If they're logged in with the same Microsoft account, Paul wants to make sure that his user experience translates when they move. So here are a few things that they can do. He can have a remote system API to discover other Windows devices that the user owns. And then the remote system APIs will allow the music app to discover the devices. Then once they're discovered, the remote launch API will launch his app on the other device. So it sounds a lot like handoff.
Mm-hmm.
And then once his app is launched on the other device, Paul can use remote app services to control his app running from his Android, running on Windows from his Android device. So they haven't released it yet, but they're going to be releasing it soon. I think this is pretty cool. I am very curious to see if it comes to something like groove music. I thought it was very... Sean, isn't it a bit odd that their example wasn't their own music app that's
Well,
on Android?
so I was thinking about this. Why would Microsoft support Android and iOS, to this level? And I really think it's part of their grand evil plan, to dominate. If all of our if developers really kind of catch on to this, and every app becomes a lot easier to work with Windows, and there are UWP apps, and even though the user base is small, now all of a sudden it's a lot easier to switch to Windows because all your stuff already works with Windows, right?
Well, I guess here's my question, Sean. There is a point where Microsoft is going to support Android so much that you actually won't get benefits by switching to Windows 10 Mobile, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you might get some, I'd say, continuum that we talked previously about. Could be a continuum competitor showing up on through Android, and if that happens on a Samsung device or whatever, then you might not have as many options, and you're starting to get some of these what seemingly were going to be Windows 10 specific APIs that are going to
Hmm.
be opening up to non-Windows devices.
Hmm.
Like the idea that I could have Groove Music on there and could control it from my phone, but it's an Android phone, that gives me less of a reason to switch to Windows 10 Mobile, but it gives me more of a reason to stay on Windows other things like PCs and Xbox.
Hmm.
And maybe that's Microsoft saying if we support Android phones, which people already use, then maybe we can help keep people on these other Windows devices instead of switching to a Chromebook
Yeah.
or a Mac or something else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because that's, in a sense, that's what happened with a lot of these. If you think about iTunes and if you think about other stuff, it's that stuff just didn't work that well on Windows, and so people start to migrate to other platforms, or even Skype. So it's
I think it's think about Apple with Apple TV and iPhones and all those types of things that work across. You want, to me, maybe they're just gonna throw in the towel with Windows 10 Mobile. They'll keep it running, but they'll just fully support Android, and I think that's what's going to happen. So, and it already is happening, but I think they'll do it even more and more. So, even things like Skype Relay, which isn't really fully out of preview on Windows 10 Mobile, that'll come over to Android as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to see. But Project Rome could be very exciting. Potentially, could be up for quite a few apps. I think I read that Project Rome is based off of their Smart Glass software. So some of the
oh
setup that they already had for Xbox Smart Glass is what's translated somewhat into Project Rome. So that's another one of
interesting.
those,
Oh wow.
they use a technology, Connect fails in one spot, shows up in another, Zune dies, but part of its programming still in Groove. Smart Glass, that tech still obviously, put in
Yeah.
other things, but it's involved in this. So that's pretty cool.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm excited. I think that it's a good move on Microsoft's part to embrace Android, embrace iOS, recognize that, the vast, vast majority of people are on Android and iOS, and if they're wanting to stay relevant, to not try and fight against it, but to embrace it. So yeah, I think it's a good move.
Huh. Well, speaking of cross-platform stuff, we have some Cortana news, and it actually involves iOS, Android, and Windows.
Yeah, that's right. So, Cortana, so there's this new thing called Cortana Skills Kit. And it's basically, it allows developers to start to, make custom uses for Cortana, and even reportedly you're able to, if anyone has created some of these custom cases for Amazon's Alexa, they're able to bring that data over into Cortana. And we've already seen teasers, I think it was back in December, of a Cortana kind of a Google Home or Amazon Alexa type device coming out, which I think would be cool. We those of us who have Xbox Ones in our house, we already have a little bit of a feel for that, but it's definitely not quite the same. The Xbox One I don't think has that as good of a far field audio capture. So I'm excited to see some of these Cortana devices coming. And Microsoft released a video showing how Cortana would be used in everyone's daily life. So whether you're in your car, whether you're in your house, or when you're on the go, they showed it working on Android, on iOS, on Windows. So yeah, I think it's pretty fun. I think Cortana has a bright future. What do you think,
I,
Sean? Would you use
uh,
Cortana?
I think Cortana could have a bright future. I know that they're actively working on it. I guess the thing is, and I was reading about kind of why, and we'll get into this in a bit. I was reading Donna speaking about why certain features aren't making their way to Windows 10 Mobile and how programming is very difficult. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, we'll try to fix one thing and it'll actually break another thing.
Ah.
And so in my head, and I'm oversimplifying and I'm recognizing that I'm oversimplifying. I feel like they should just put on like a record mode where they just have insiders say what they actually want Cortana to do, and then they program that. But in reality, that takes forever to do in machine learning on what actually is useful and all that stuff. So I can be frustrated at times because Cortana, on one hand, can do many things, but on the other hand, it's very limited. You know, I watch like these adverts for like Amazon Fire TV Stick and Apple TV, and I wonder why Cortana is not just doesn't seem quite as integrated. Do you feel that she's as integrated as some of these other smart AIs?
No, I don't. You know, I was really so I think I mentioned this to you last week, but I can't remember. I got a Google Now for my birthday from my dad, and at first I was like, well, I already have Cortana in my living room with the Xbox, so but I was blown away. It is really good. You know,
Yeah,
I'd say
yeah,
Google,
that's the thing.
yeah, Google Now, I would say it's easily 10 times better than Cortana on the Xbox. And I know Cortana is way more powerful than what's available on the Xbox. So I think Microsoft, man, they had a chance to really be there first before Amazon or Google, and I think they missed their chance, you know, with the Xbox.
That's the thing is I know Cortana came out after Siri, but you know there was an argument that it's on PCs, that's going to help it learn more. I'm pretty sure Cortana came to PCs before Siri did, so you're looking at okay, it's on phones, but it wasn't a ton of phones. And they put it on PC, and then they put it on Android, and then they put it on iOS. But it's like, how many people are really going to use Cortana as their personal assistant on an Android phone when they could use Google Now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, no one? I mean, I have it on an Android phone, but like, to me, Cortana has so much potential, but it's just not deeply integrated and doesn't get some of those features that I'd really want. And that to me is very frustrating.
Yep. You know what would have been awesome? Maybe they didn't have the foresight to do it with the original Xbox One, but at least the new Xbox One, the Xbox One S, is that right? What is it? I don't even. They should have put a microphone in there, you know, or sorry, a speaker. They already have a microphone. They should have put a speaker so you can say, "Hey Cortana," without needing to necessarily have the Xbox on, right? So essentially, that would have been your home Cortana device.
Yeah, and I mean Cortana's going to get some buffs with some of these upcoming updates that allow you to have, especially when Windows 10 comes on ARM, you're going to see some of these because you get Cortana where your PC's sleeping a little more lightly, I guess, more active because it's on ARM. I still remember your video of RT where you go, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. So if you get that with full Windows 10, that'll be a thing. Your PCs will be like that. But yeah, I think a speaker, if you're going to have Cortana compete with the Amazon Echoes of the world, then you do need that. So I'm a little confused why there seem to be so many limitations when Cortana, as you said, can be so powerful, but just doesn't seem to be very powerful.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see a lot of that changing with this Amazon or Cortana Skills kit. A lot of developers are going to be hopefully coming on, you know, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Cortana can catch up. But in my opinion, yeah, Cortana is. I think Google and Amazon and Siri has already kind of gotten significant head ground. It's going to be hard for Cortana to catch up.
Yeah, and then once you lose that battle, it's really hard to win users back because why would someone switch from something that works for something that doesn't?
Yep, exactly.
Or even switch from something that works to another thing that also works. It's not like if Siri and Google Now just completely sucked and then Cortana was amazing, people might actually switch.
Yeah.
But that's not the case right now. Anyway, so that's we'll see what happens with Cortana and if these types of things help it out.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, I do think it's interesting that we're seeing another, you know, in that video, we saw another example of the cross-platform thing, you know, embracing Android, embracing iOS. So we're starting to see that theme in Microsoft, the theme of embracing other OSs. And I think that's new. That's with Satya Nadella. I don't think it was like that under Ballmer. I think that's.
And Satya's only been in what, 3 years? There was an article about how he's like revolutionized Microsoft.
Happy 3-year anniversary to Satya Nadella. He's done a ton for Microsoft.
I know some people have really disliked him. I think he's doing a very good job.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think when you are a CEO of a company like that, first of all, you have many jobs, and so I'm not perfectly capable of judging his performance. But from my perspective, Your job's to help make money, to grow the company, and to grow the mission of the company. If you're a tech company and you want to grow tech, then you need to be good at tech. And if you want to be the cutting edge, then you need to be cutting edge. If you want to be reliable, that's what you need to focus on, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think Microsoft has grown in many sectors. I think that they've obviously fallen in Windows 10 Mobile, but if you look, Xbox is having good sales. He's put good people in charge. They brought Windows device together. One, Microsoft's coming together. The cloud is important for them. I think we're seeing a lot of growth in Nadella's. He's obviously not the only person who's been involved, but I think he's definitely made a positive effect. And so I think he's been very solid.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I really do like the whole one Microsoft, one Windows direction, and it feels slower than it should be, I guess, because it's been a few years and we're still talking about one Windows and how it's gonna all come together. But it's kind of like this big giant like ship that's like it just keeps cruising down, and we're seeing progress each week, and it's slow, but it's happening. So I think that's good.
Yeah, I also think with one Microsoft, they're not just bringing it in on a surface level, and I don't mean the pun. Sorry, they're not. It's not just the top level of it needs to look united. No, I mean they're bringing composable shells across all form factors, actual code that's across these things.
Yes,
it's not complete feature parity, which can be frustrating at times, but they're genuinely bringing things together. Even things like Xbox. Xbox has grown so much closer to Windows 10.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's definitely on purpose, and I think it's very good.
Yep. And I think that's a great segue into your next little segment.
Yeah, that's true. Basically, with Developer Day, there was a slide that talked about UWP games on Xbox, and I initially and some others thought that it was going to open up UWP games to Xbox similarly to how UWP apps can be on Xbox. And apparently, it's not really the case. It's not like they're opening the floodgates. To make an app, to make a game that goes on Xbox, it's actually pretty rigorous testing. And I'm not going to lie, I think it was Jez at Windows Central broke a lot of this down on the ID process and everything. So, long story short, they're not making it where just anybody in the world can make a game and then it's on Xbox. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because they're pretty strict on what games get approved. So I know it might be tempting to say, oh, wouldn't it be great to just automatically get a game? But no, it's still possible. I mean, obviously you can code, you still do things, it can be approved, but it's not going to be like just open season, anybody can get a game on there. So just to kind of clarify that news kind of happened this week, and then a lot of us got confused, and that's been clarified since then.
Yep, interesting.
I don't know if I'd want. I mean, I guess UWP games could be fun on Xbox One, but I want the Xbox to be good games, I guess. Yeah. And I don't mind. I don't think there's a shortage of Xbox One games. I think apps really help it. It was never really lacking apps, but since they've opened it up, I've actually seen an increase in apps on the Xbox.
Yeah. So one of my first tastes of I don't think it's a UWP game, but it's kind of maybe you can call it the precursor, was when Halo Spartan Assault came out. Do you remember that game on the Surface?
I haven't played it, but I do know of it, yeah.
Yeah, so it was available on the Surface. You could also play it obviously on your PC, and then you also could play it on the Xbox. And everything was synced up, so you could start on your Surface and then go jump on the Xbox. You could actually plug your Xbox controller into your Surface if you wanted to. And to me, that at the time, this was a few years ago, I'm like, this is how all games should be. Like, I would love to.
Yeah, they will be eventually.
So yeah, I like it.
Eventually, they'll all be like that.
Not all games are going to work. Some games are optimized for touch screens, and you can't use controllers for it. But yeah, I think for the most part, most games you could probably go back and forth, and vice versa.
I also think as we move over time, I didn't know that this probably wasn't worthy of an entire podcast, but I just, somebody asked what about mouse and keyboard, and it's kind of, I don't know, it might, still being worked on and thought about and stuff. So it's like, if you get mouse and keyboard on Xbox, and then you have obviously have Xbox controller support on Windows, well, then they could just lock it in where they say you're only competing against people using the same controller setup. If you're on mouse and keyboard on Xbox or PC, you go against other mouse and keyboard guys, controller, etc. So yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there slowly but surely.
Yes, absolutely. All the fun stuff coming to Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got some more UWP related stuff because we have a leaked operating
Yes.
system that can only run UWP stuff,
Yeah, so this was kind of fun. We were just actually talking about
or at
this.
least Windows Store stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We were just talking about this last week, and we were, I've got a little video here that I'm showing. This is something that Cody from On Microsoft made. So we were speculating last week, what is Windows 10 Cloud? And I speculated it's an OS that will run, something off the like cloud computing, basically a shell for cloud computing. And then we were talking about how, well, is this just basically another Windows RT? So from this leaked, hands-on video that we're seeing, it does appear that this is basically another Windows RT. Is this like Windows 10 RT? Like if Windows RT had continued, right, and was upgraded to Windows 10, this is what it would have been.
Which
So
is sad because there are Windows RT devices that aren't getting upgraded to Windows 10, even though there's basically a Windows 10 RT.
yeah, yeah. So and I don't know what to think about. I was sad when Microsoft announced that they were gonna kill off Windows RT. I don't think they officially announced it, but they basically did, right? And so I was sad because I liked Windows RT, and so but I've moved on, and now to see this, now to see this pop up again, it's like, oh, it never really worked, and people got really confused about it, and there was a lot of backlash and a lot of negative. Even I made a positive video about why Windows RT was great, and it was really controversial. So I am confused. I think there's got to be more.
There
But
must be something more to this. I'll give you a few things specifically. I guess I can just bump this story up now. Apparently, the full Office suite is coming to Windows Store,
okay.
but I think it's through Project Centennial.
Oh, okay.
Well, in these leaked builds, I don't think that they can run Project Centennial on Windows 10 Cloud.
At least not yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if Microsoft is going to have, if they're going to start moving away from this Windows Office or Office Mobile, though this apparently they're going to keep updating it for a bit, but obviously if they're trying to get full Windows 10 version or into the store, Office apps, but it's going to be through Centennial, then you have a device that can't run Centennial. That seems a bit odd because then what version of Office is it running with? So that tells me that there's either something we don't know about UWP Office, which I don't know if that's, I don't know if mobile's going to be up to, or I don't know if Centennial is going to eventually run on cloud. I wouldn't be super against a Windows 10 cloud that worked with any app in the Windows Store, Centennial or not. I'd be a lot more open to that than I would one that was just like the pure UWP. What do you think?
Yeah, this is tough. I think that now that we know that there's Windows 10 on ARM that can run anything, it just seems unnecessary now. I understood Windows RT. If Microsoft could have made it run traditional desktop applications, I think they would have, but it just wasn't possible at the time. But now with Windows 10 on ARM, yeah, I don't understand this. I think there's something I'm missing.
This must be, yeah, like you said, somewhere missing. Also could be a money thing. We talked about this before. Cloud could be a Chromebook competitor. If you got a Windows 10 cloud device to run Centennial apps, which they apparently don't, but what I'm saying is if
Yeah.
they did,
Yeah.
you could easily sell that to a school because you'd say it's through the Windows Store that you can control. It can't corrupt the PC. Full Office there. It's not some mobile Office. It's full Office. It's all this stuff. I could see, and then they said it's cheaper. You're paying less for licensing. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see.
I
But I think right
yeah, I
now,
think you're right.
I
I
think
think
you could sell it that way.
they would have to. I think with the lessons they learned from Windows RT, if they did do this, if they did want to go ahead against Chromebooks, they would have to really do their best to almost walk on eggshells to sell it properly, right? Because I think that, yeah, I think they would have learned from Windows RT, how to phrase it, how to word it. It's so
I also have
funny.
to say,
Go ahead.
Anything running Windows 10 Cloud, assuming it's what we think it is, better be absolutely dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Because low-powered Windows 10 PCs are already not that expensive. Like in the grand, I know their price, you can't just go burning them, obviously, but like they're not thousands of dollars anymore for like a basic, I need to run Office, I need to browse the web, I need to run, just basic internet kind of apps or whatever. That's not expensive today. You can already get a Windows 10 device or a device capable of running Windows 10 for only a few $100s.
Yeah.
And so if you need to make a cheaper version of that, it needs to be like water. Like schools can just like, here's a few grand. I want it for the whole school kind of stuff. Because it's like you cannot charge almost as much for a Windows 10 cloud device as you do for a cheap Windows 10 PC.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, Chromebooks are cheap. I mean, some of them are expensive, but Chromebooks in general are really cheap, which is what makes
you needed options that are just dirt cheap for this. So we'll see. This is one of the, I said before the show that when we got builds, they used to all be leaked builds or pretty much, and then we only got official ones every once in a while. I feel like with Windows 10 Cloud, like this is like, it's all speculation and fun, man. Like, oh, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to run this? Is it going to run that? How much is it going to cost? Is it a thing? Is it going to work? And then they'll come at a conference and they'll announce everything. We'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Or we'll hate it, but whatever. We just don't know yet.
It's fun. It's fun when it's all speculation and rumors.
It is a bit fun.
Well, looking at the comments, people already hate Windows Cloud.
Yeah, it's not even out. It's dead on arrival in their eyes, I guess.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. Speaking of speculation and fun things, somebody tweeted at, I think was it Mike Ybarra? Let me see who they tweeted. It was about Xbox. Phil Spencer, my fault. Somebody tweeted at Phil Spencer about, hi, Phil, are we likely to see backwards compatibility applied to Windows 10 allowing us to enjoy 360 games on our PCs? And his response was, running backwards compatibility on all the different PC hardware configurations would be a lot more work than Xbox One, but never say never.
Whoa.
To me,
I
don't know. Technically, he said never say never, but I don't think this would be happening anytime soon.
That reminds me, I don't know if you've ever watched Dumb and Dumber.
So you're saying there's a chance. I should go find that tweet and then send that meme to him.
Yeah, you should. Put that as a meme.
You're saying there's a chance,
comments.
Phil Spencer.
Never say never, though.
I don't think there's much news to that, really. Do you?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think I don't know. I wonder why he would respond at all. I would just not say anything.
They've got to enjoy it on some level. It's probably, again, he probably, I don't know, maybe got scolded for it. He's pretty high up, though. But sometimes people just like to mess with us,
Well, I think it's. I don't think he did anything necessarily wrong. I just think some fans and people read too much into this tweet. They'll say some guy in Australia. They'll message him and say, I'm thinking about getting a new Surface, but I think the Surface Pro 4 might get replaced. Well, should I get a Surface Pro and he'll say, I don't know, mate. I mean, there could be a new one coming out. And then all of a sudden it's like, new Surface on the way. Exactly. No, nobody really said that. It's one idiot in Australia. Like, that's not news.
I think there's always going to be a new Surface coming out. I think it's safe to say that.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so in more actual newsy news, the creators update is feature complete.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so let me see. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I was at Developer Day live stream. I'm reading here. One of our old friends, Zach, talked about it over on Windows Central. Anyway, so no, he was talking about. Yeah, so it's feature complete. Though I think this actually was announced the day before the next build came out. So maybe it was feature complete internally, and then we still had one or two more builds. But the point is that that's pretty normal. It rolls out soon. The Creators Update's only about, what do you think? Somewhere between 7 and 12 weeks away, I'm guessing.
Yeah, April, right? It's supposed to come out in April.
Well, remember how Microsoft works is they often will say a season.
Yes.
Say spring. And then people don't recognize that it's technically spring until June 20th.
Yeah.
They'll say fall and it's technically fall till December
Yeah.
20th. So when they say April, it could very well be the last day of April. And I don't think they've officially even said April yet. So
Hmm.
that's what
Yep.
the internal numbers suggested. But yeah, so I think that we are starting to see what the creators it's going to be. Some of the features we were more excited about, like the people bar, aren't coming. There aren't a lot of features for mobile, but there are some features for Windows 10 that are on the way. I'm a little, to be honest with you, underwhelmed with what's different for mobile. And I don't think there's too much groundbreakingly new stuff but it's one of those enough little new things in the creators update that overall, I think it'll be a solid update for computers.
Yep. So I'm hoping we'll see a little surprise. Typically, it's not. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but typically we'll see, one or two Surface announcements a year, right? We'll see one in the fall. That's kind of the big one, and then we'll see one in the spring. So my hope is that we'll see maybe like a Surface Pro 5 announced sometime end of March or so, and it'll include some surprises that play nice with the creators update, such as maybe 3D scanning. I know they showed that on the phone, right? During the creators update presentation. I think it was an HP Windows phone that they showed that at. So yeah, I think that might be nice. They pushed that 3D paint pretty hard, but we haven't really heard much about it. It's yeah. So I don't know. We'll
The
see.
real question is, does this update seem that creatory to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So during the Windows Developer Day, they started out Developer Day with a creators update video showing how if you write code, you're a creator. If you type documents, you're a creator. If you basically anything
Typing documents, that's a bit of a stretch.
they say I create with
If
Word,
you
So,
have drawn a circle
yeah.
on Microsoft Paint, you are a creator.
So it's yeah, I create with science. Basically anything that you do in life,
Have you ever text messaged on your phone?
you are a
You have
creator.
created that message.
Pretty much. That's pretty
Tweets
much
are
what,
a beautiful creation.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I would have called it a creators update. I feel like the only thing that really makes it the creators update is Paint 3D. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Beam. That's one.
Beam, is that
That's a
counted
type
as?
of creating.
I guess so. Yeah, if you're making
Beam
videos.
integration, that's a type of creating.
Yeah, I don't think it lives up to its name enough, but it does it just enough to make it passable. We'll give him a pass.
I think I'm wondering with feature completeness. That must be internally feature complete because Beam integration hasn't rolled out to the Xbox One yet,
Mm-mm.
and so I mean it's not like the build you're running today has every feature because
Well, and
Beam.
is Beam integration even in It's supposed to be in Windows, right? Isn't it supposed to be integrated into Windows? Is it integrated yet in the?
This is what I mean when I feature.
Yeah,
No,
and then I know they decided not to put that people's ability in until the
yeah,
next.
I think that's they've locked in and they're going to fix a few things. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
We shall see. In any event, speaking of some things that are going to be actually rolling out and on the way, let me go through some of the stuff for this new. There is a new build with some of these features. We're talking about being feature complete. Well, how about some cool features that have already snuck in, this week?
All right.
There's a build that's Windows 10 build 15031. I believe for the first time in a little bit, we have the newest and very, very relatively new build number, the same number on Xbox One, PC, and mobile. They didn't all roll out the same day, but I believe all three of those are actually on build 15031. Except they don't all have the same features, but we'll get to that in a second. So let me get through some of the PC stuff, because I think that's some of the biggest thing here.
Yep.
We have a new thing coming out for PC. It's called Compact Overlay.
Oh.
And it looks quite a bit like this picture-in-a-picture Beam integration that we've seen in some videos already.
Okay.
But it's for Windows 10.
Okay.
So on the official Windows blog post, you can see them, and they have OneNote and Excel open on their PC, but then they have what seems to be the Microsoft Movies app because that is mentioned movies and TV, and then on the bottom their taskbar has movies there. And it's open, and it's just straight up overlay, picture in a picture. You know, like Skype, like the Win32 version of Skype?
Yep.
How you can have like a little overlay box floating over everything?
Yep.
It basically looks like that.
Oh, interesting.
Except app developers can do it for all their, you just put that into a UWP app, or UWA rather. And so specifically they mentioned movies and TV, Skype preview, but I mean it says we're introducing a new compact overlay mode for UWA app developers. Doesn't the A in UWA stand for app?
I think so.
So wouldn't UWA app developer, that's like saying you have your PIN number. Where the N stands for your personal identification number.
Yeah, I think so.
Universal Windows Application App.
Yeah.
In any event, I made the same mistake with UWP apps. I just call them UWA. But in any event, so compact overlay looks great. I think it'd be wonderful. I also wonder one thing. You know how on the Xbox One, the old snap mode is going away?
Under the new beta, the beta release?
Well, yeah, that's my question is most people think that, or at least I think, and I think a lot of people agree with me, that this compact overlay is very, I definitely think it's connected to the Xbox One version, only because they're so similar in what we think is going to happen. It's not confirmed or anything, but I think they got to be similar. Why would you have, they're too much alike in this Microsoft ecosystem for them to not be connected. Yeah. My thing is they took away snap mode for UWP apps can't snap. Or UWA. Sorry, the UWA can't snap.
Okay.
So in the Skype preview will show up and you're ready to install apps on Xbox One but can't actually be installed. So is Skype preview when they unveil this on Xbox or something similar, is that when we get Skype preview on Xbox? Because I could understand them not releasing Skype unless there's some form of multitasking or snappability.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, picture in picture, that would be great. I think I really like picture in a picture. I think it's pretty slick, really.
The question is, I think picture in picture, especially on the Xbox, would be awesome. How would you control it though? Like, how would you move it around? You know?
I'm sure they'll figure it out. I mean, it can't be that hard.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
I think on a PC it'd be a lot easier to control, obviously.
But,
yeah. Like I said, we've already seen it. Like the regular Win32 Skype is like that.
Yep.
Like you have a floating thing on my screen right now.
Yeah,
right there. Hello.
You have one on my screen.
I can hang up.
I just showed a video snippet of you kind of floating around in there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, another feature is they're introducing dynamic lock. This is something that we kind of knew was coming, but basically it'll lock your PC when you're not around based on the proximity of a Bluetooth paired phone. So that's what they're saying. We kind of knew this was happening. We've talked about it before, but that's great. It's there. There's also a new share icon. Very exciting. It looks a bit more like the if you're used to Apple and Android, it looks a bit more like their share icons in my opinion because it's an arrow instead of 3 dots and some lines. So that's nice. There's some Windows bar improvements. There's a long list of games that now support the Windows bar. So that's mostly it for that. I think that there's some other builds that came out for Xbox and the same build number for mobile as well. I guess we talked about the other day with mobile. It's great to see them developing it. I'm still frustrated when some features don't make the jump, but I think Windows 10 I think it's going to be a very solid gaming experience. They're really making it great for gamers, I think.
Yeah, they are. And they're integrating it so much with the Xbox ecosystem that, yeah, I think if you have an Xbox and you have a Windows 10 PC, you'll feel like they're really the same system. Like it'll be fluid to go back and forth between the two of them, which I think is nice.
They're coming closer together. You got universal apps here. You got mouse and keyboard could be coming over there. You got Beam on both, picture in a picture, all sorts of fun stuff. Isn't it great?
Yep, absolutely. All right. Is that all of our news for the day?
There's probably, we could break down a few more things, but I'm just trying to think how many different, I'm trying to make sure if there's anything worth talking about in the specific builds, because they are all the same number, but they're not always identical. Trying to think, I don't know if I think there's some child controls on the new build of Xbox. I don't know if that's very newsworthy. Let me just check one more thing. Just check the mobile listing
So
here.
in our comments, they're
Do-do-do.
asking if keyboard and mouse support is coming to the Xbox. I think you talked
Could
about that.
be. Maybe someday, folks.
That's been a
I say this
long-lasting
in a
question.
somewhat trolly way, understanding that it's a bit trolly. It will come when the time is right. Somebody asked Donna Sarkar about like when Nightlight and some other features are coming in Windows 10 Mobile, and she talked about when the time is right. She also broke down about coding changes and making sure that it works well on PC. That's a whole thing for another podcast on another day.
Yep.
Here, I'm going to open this right now. Announcing Windows 10 Insider Preview Build 15031 for mobile. You want to know what's new? New share icon. You want to know what else is new? Nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There are a bunch of fixes, which is great, but no new features. The only thing under what's new share icon.
Wow.
Anyway. Oh yeah,
New
I think
shit.
that's it for this week.
Okay. Wow.
All right,
Well,
great.
we actually
Well,
covered quite a
that
bit.
sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I said we actually covered quite a bit.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, this has been Talk Microsoft. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Sean Michael. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Michael_UK. There's a lot of underscores. Uh, you can find my co-host Sean Ong on Twitter at.
Sean_Ong.
We are, as always, the official podcast for OnMicrosoft.com, which is spelled out again on MSFT.com. So don't be typing full words and all that sort of thing. So that's that. You can find all sorts of recaps, write-ups, build videos, reviews of devices on OnMicrosoft.com.
That's right.
And always check out our YouTube channel and SoundCloud for the podcast and much more in the terms of the YouTube there. Check out Sean's YouTube channel. All sorts of fun things, tips and tricks there, surface things.
Yep.
Is there anything else I missed, Sean? Do we have any other social media?
No, I think that's good for now.
Yik yak, Snapchat, give a dog a bone.
I am considering streaming on more services like Beam and other stuff like that, but that's to be announced soon.
To be announced. All right, then.
Yes.
So we will look into that in the future. All right, well, then we will see you next week. See you guys. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. All right. So let me just give this a few more seconds to soak in live, and then we'll turn it off.